there, and welcome back to the Flippin' Foxes. I'm Sherry, and we are on Saturday, so we have made it through Thanksgiving and through the Black Friday. We woke up to a white Saturday. We had our first snow that stuck, and it's absolutely beautiful outside. I'll take a video and show you guys. It's kind of falling just slightly. I see a lot of clouds coming in, so we may actually get a full-on snowstorm. But for now, it's just beautiful. It's just a real thin layer of snow. So I hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving and really enjoyed spending it with your loved ones, having the day off, unless you had to work. I'm sorry. We took it pretty easy. We didn't cook. We wound up going into the nearest town, which only has one restaurant that's open for Thanksgiving, and they do a full buffet spread. All homemade, absolutely great food. And so it was nice to just sit there with my husband and my older son, who has moved here, and he managed to actually have that day off, thank goodness, because he works pretty much 7 days a week. So it was nice. And then we just came home, and I pretty much listed and watched movies while I was doing it, and my husband was tinkering around outside. So it was very relaxing. Compared to last year, it was nice. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little backstory of what happened last year so you'll understand. It was rough. We sat down. I'd helped my sister-in-law get Thanksgiving Day, and she's a huge planner. So she had planned for Thanksgiving weeks in advance and had family friends that are basically like family over. And so we were all sitting around the dinner table, and we were almost done with the main course, and they were getting ready to clear the table and bring out dessert. And one of the family friends that was there got a notification on her phone that her fire alarm was going off. And I think it was on her Ring door notification. And she's like, oh my God. And her husband's like, don't worry, I'll go over and see what's going on. Maybe it's just, a false alarm. And because the weather was pretty bad, and sometimes the Wi-Fi can mess up on those things. But usually if you're getting, a break-in notification or a fire alarm, it's pretty serious. So they rushed over there, and in between them leaving the house and going over there, she then got a notification that all service had been lost altogether. And it was really hard to keep her calm down. They had just bought this house. I don't know that they had been in it but about a year, if that. And so she was kind of freaking out. Plus they had left their puppy that they had adopted probably about 6 months earlier was also there. They didn't bring it with them. So she's a little paranoid at this point, rightfully so. And about, 15 minutes later, she gets the call from her husband. Before he had ever got to the house, he could see the flames. And by the time they got there, the whole house was engulfed. A couple of kids who were racing through the neighborhood, probably drunk. One of them flew through the stop sign, and her house was right after the stop sign on the back side of her house, went through the fence, through the house. And basically the whole house just exploded and went up in flames. They lost their puppy, which I think was harder for them than the house. It's easy to replace wood and steel, but it's really hard to replace a loved one. And this was their first dog they had got together. They don't have children yet, so it was their fur baby. And so the cops, the fire department, the fire department was amazing. They did everything they could, to help them, but it was heartbreaking. So no one wanted to leave the house unattended through the night. So we took shifts sitting in front of their house for, I think my husband and I sat there for like a 3 or 4 hour span, and then my nephew came in and relieved us through the morning until they could, because it was Thanksgiving, they couldn't get any wood to board up windows, and they were afraid of people coming in and stealing. So it was definitely a rough Thanksgiving, and really made us realize how important family and, you know, just being together is. So it was nice to have a very uneventful Thanksgiving this year. And I hope you did as well. So with that being said, this video is going to be a little different. I was going to do a what sold video, and I have a few, not a lot of sales, because I know people are doing a lot of Black Friday sales, cyber sales. So I'm sure that more income is going to that than going to vintage items on eBay. And I'm coming to terms with that. I'm not worried about it so much anymore. I have a plan. My husband and I sat down and really talked about how we were going to move things forward, which I'll share in prior videos or in new videos. But what I wanted to do in this video was, I had gotten a lot of requests when I had posted my one video on cross-listing and my cross-listing sales. I had a couple ask me if I could do a video on how to cross-list and kind of go over it. So I have spent the last 2-3 days, because, you know, it's hard to teach this old dog new tricks. So I really sat down and was learning how to get on, do a screen record, and literally go through the entire cross-listing process. I'm going to keep it short. It really doesn't take that long. And that's kind of the point I want to drive across, is that with so many of these platforms changing, especially eBay, the items that are being sold on eBay there's going to have to be a shift. And that shift doesn't apply across the board to the other platforms. You know, Etsy is handmade and vintage items, and people are more willing to buy the little trinket items and pay a little bit more on Etsy, because that's specifically what they are. When people go on those sites, they're either looking for handmade items or they're looking for vintage items. Whereas eBay is just a broad range of everything, you know. So with that, you know, certain things that may not be getting any traction on eBay need to eventually be moved over to Etsy, and that's what I've been working on. Mercari is more of the everything type, although there's a few items you can't list on there that you can list on eBay. So it's learning your lane, I guess, in each platform as to what will sell, what will just sit. And that's kind of where I've been focusing lately, is trying to figure out where I'm going to get more traction. Do I see it as more work? Not really, because yeah, I'm getting it out there on eBay and then cross-listing it over, and that shift may change or will change at the beginning of the year. And I may just put them on specific ones, depending. But I need to get everything moved from eBay over to the to the platforms I know will do better for it. And then once I do, I can start pulling off of eBay when I know that, you know, it's a smaller dollar item that eBay's just not going to push anymore. And they've said that. But we'll get into that in a different video. And so with that, I'm going to flip my screen over, and I'm going to show you the process of listing on Vendoo. And I choose Vendoo because I have tried some of the other cross-listing platforms, apps, and I just like the ease of Vendoo, and I like the fact that they have an app. You can do it from anywhere. Their importing is super simple. Just a couple of fields you'll have to fill out, as you'll see. And so I hope you like this short tutorial. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. And I do look at almost all of my messages when they come up. I may not answer each and every one because I got kind of overwhelmed on one of my videos and I was trying to answer every single question, and it was just taking away from time I could be listing. But I do look at them, and I had, like I said, I had a couple reach out and say, do a video on cross listing. So I want to actually show you from start to finish how I cross list an item. So with that, I will move over to my screen and show you how it's done. Okay, so I wanted to take you right from the very beginning. So you're going to go on Vendoo, and it's this one right here, first one that pops up. So you click on that. Okay, so you're going to come to this menu where you're either going to log in if you already have an account or register if you do not. So I'm going to show you, it's not letting me. Okay, so since I'm already subscribed, you can go on and register and pick your plans, your subscription plans. So these are the subscriptions. I have the unlimited because I have so many items I need to get moved over. And you can also do, let me see. So if you want to, here's your different subscription plans. So you can do 25 items is $19.99 a month. If you're a fairly small store and maybe you just want to try it out, that might be your best option. Or the $29.99 gives you an additional 50 items, and that averages out to about 40 cents per item. So you can either add that into your item price to make up for it, or just, it's an expense, so you can write it off on taxes. I did this one for quite a while, and I started realizing, as I got more things cross-listed over, the 250 just wasn't enough for me. So I went down to the unlimited one. Okay, so and they walk you through everything. It's a Chrome extension you add to your computer, runs seamlessly in the background. So I'm going to go back to my main. Okay, so these over here will show you your inventory that you have already imported in. And in my case, I import from eBay and then cross-list from there. You can do brand new items. So you can start your item right on Vendoo. I don't do that because there's so many categories you have to fill out, so many item specifics you have to fill out on eBay that Vendoo doesn't touch on all of them. So I just start on eBay and then import. This is where you import, and I'm going to show you that process today because I do have some that need to be imported in, so I waited. And it'll give you analytics, so you can put your cost, everything in there, and it will track all of that for you. So if you want to see my inventory, these are some of the ones I've already cross-listed. So let's go ahead and do it as if, so this I run every morning, and I do a import first thing before I start cross-listing. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So what it's doing is it's pulling all of my items that I listed yesterday or ended and sold similar yesterday will all be being pulled in right now. So you'll see these items down here change as it's importing in new items. And these have not yet been added to Vendoo's inventory, your inventory on Vendoo. So and it takes a little while. I think I had a little over 100 items that we'll be importing. So give it just a couple of minutes. And sometimes I toggle back and forth and it'll kind of update it quicker. So you can pick and choose what you want to go where. You know, I pretty much put them all over into inventory, but you can select which ones you want moved over first into inventory that you want to work on cross-listing, or you can just do a mass and send them all. I'm going to get past. So let's say I want to do these. Well, let's do this item because I know I don't have that item on cross-listed yet. So you can see down here it shows 1, which is the one I just selected. So I'm going to go import item, and you can see it down here thinking. My internet is a little slower today because of the storm. So okay, so now it shows it's imported. So then I go back up here to inventory, and there it is. And you can see that the only platform it is on is eBay. So here's where everybody says, oh, it's so time consuming to cross list. Okay, so it's already imported in. That took me maybe 30 seconds. If you have a lot of listings, yeah, it'll take a little while, and depending on your internet speed. But once they're imported and you select, I usually do 10, 15 at a time and move them over to my inventory. So now I'm going to click on that one. Okay. And it knows how many pictures are allowed on each platform, the specifics that certain specifics that each platform needs, you know, the basics. You can always go back into the platform and adjust. You can change your title. So like with Etsy, I add a little bit more to my title because I'm not limited to 80 characters. I think Etsy has a little over 100 and something characters. So I can add a little bit more to my title. And you can save it straight to Vendoo here. If you want to put all that stuff in and save it in Vendoo, and then you just go through and add it to the platforms, a lot of your info is already there. But I go to the specific platform I want to use. So you can see it says not listed. So this item's not listed yet. So if you already have an item, well, we'll get back to that. Let's just list this item. So we're going to go list item. And here it is on the Etsy form that they want you to fill out. Okay, so I could change anything I want here. I have up to 140 characters. I could change my description if I wanted to. And then you can put your primary colors in here. So we're going to go with brown and yellow. Brown and yellow. If you have a SKU, you can put it here. This item is on my display shelf behind me that you see in most of my videos. Okay, so here is where it's different, you know, because it's going to say another company or person. Well, that is if, you know, they're handmade items usually. In this case, it is another company or person. It's not my shop because I didn't make it, nor, you know, I did. So if you own your own business and you sell, you know, this would be a member of my shop, or if you're hand making items, it would be I did. But in my case, it's another person or company. It's a finished product. And then here, because Etsy is pretty much vintage only, you have to select. And this item, I believe, is from the 80s. So you select it here. Now, you can put your tags in here. I do a lot of research on Etsy for my tags through another app. So I leave this blank. It will still cross-list your item without this. The material is ceramic. And then I'm listing a physical item. Etsy does a lot of digital, so they have that option as well. And then down here you can select the best place. This is a vase. A lot of times it will pick up on certain words, the AI features, so it will put it in there for you. Now my shipping profile, I don't ship breakable items overseas, so I just do free domestic and I add it into the price. Etsy lets you select your return policies. I do 14-day returns. And so now I'm going to add my shipping into this. Renewal is automatic, and that's how often it renews on Etsy, which I believe is every 3 months. You could select manual if you want to renew your items once a month. I usually go on and do that by item basis, so I do that on the platform. So it's a live listing. You can also draft them. So if you want to draft and move it over to Etsy and then make changes before it goes live, you can do that. I could do that, do the tags and then make it live, but I've had a lot of people purchase just off my title and description. So live listing and list on eBay. And that may have seemed like a lot, but I'm explaining step by step. Really, honestly, it takes me maybe 15-20 seconds to do. And it'll let you know once it's listed. So your item is listed. So now if I go to my eBay store, you are going to see the item is right here. And so that's pretty much it. And let me show you. So if I want to take and move that exact same one over to Mercari. So now it shows listed. See, so now I know it's listed on eBay and it's listed on Etsy. So here's Mercari. Mercari's really easy. There's not going to be a brand, I know that. Mercari's very limited on the brands they let you use, but it will tell you if it's in there or not, and then you can just select no brand. Color. I usually leave this blank because Mercari, for whatever reason, doesn't have a multicolor option. So here are my tags. Vintage. So you can put your 3 Mercari tags. Copley base. And it also recognizes what it is. You put your zip code in, and whether you're going to pay or the buyer pays, I always pay. And and that's it. You can do smart pricing on there if you opt for that on Mercari. It will add that to your feature and it's listed. So if I go over to my Mercari and then go to my listings, you'll now see it here. And I just listed it on 2 separate platforms. It took me maybe a total of 2 minutes. So a minute per platform, and it's done. So, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you before we move back. So what's nice is you have a lot, let me see. So here is all the places you can cross this to from Vendoo. They have eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Greld, Posh, Facebook, Depop, Kitizen, Shopify if you have a Shopify store, and I'm not really sure what the V-Beta is. It's Vesitaire, which is all higher end vintage items. So right here. So they are slowly implementing cell detection. So right now I believe it's only available on eBay and Posh. So when one of your items sells on that platform, it will automatically delist. So if you sell something on eBay, it's automatically going to delist it from Vendoo and it's going to delist it on Posh. So you don't have to worry about it. And they're slowly working on getting the other platforms included, which will be nice because you won't have to go in. And actually ending it's really not hard. So say if I sold this item I could just go here and hit mark as sold, depending on what platform you sold it on. So if I sold it on Mercari, I would select mark as sold, and then it would delist it from all the other platforms. So it's just one click you have to do in order to take it off of all the platforms. So I hope that was informative enough. If, like I said, if you have any additional questions, definitely put them below. And I'm going to switch off this, and you'll see my face again here in just a moment. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my first tutorial video. Like I said, it took me a little while to figure out, but I think I'm finally getting it. And I hope I answered most of your questions and showed you how really simple it is to cross-list. If you do have any additional questions that I didn't touch on in the video, make sure and put it in the comments below and I will get back to you. I tried to go through all the comments and answer what I can. Also, one thing I forgot to mention in the video is there is a little pink comment box that you can press on. And if you go back and look through, you'll see where it's at. But you can get a hold of Vendoo staff that way, and they are amazing. They're a small team. They give it a very personal touch, and they answer back within the hour if they can. It's almost always within the same day. So with that, I hope you enjoyed our video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And there is also a referral link below for Vendoo if you want to try it out and see how you like it. I will see you next time, and have a great Saturday.